Good day, everyone. What I want to present to you today is something that a lot of people don't really think much about, and that is wintertime driving and just the things that could happen. If you drive in a lot of snow and ice and a lot of nasty weather, there's definitely some things that you should think ahead about, and that is things that could happen. Like, let's say you're just for a scenario here. Let's say you're cruising down the highway and you hit some black ice and you go shooting off the road, and the berm is really deep and you go shooting into that snow, and obviously you're up on top of it and the snow's up against the bottom of the car and your wheels might be a foot off the ground, however far, and there's no way you're getting out of there unless you have a shovel with you and you shovel and shovel and shovel for hours. Because it's all packed up underneath the car. So basically the only way to get yourself out is to have someone pull you out. So the reason I say this is because this happened to me last winter, and so I was not prepared at all. I had absolutely nothing, no shovel or anything. The car was loaded down. I was on a pretty long trip, and so I waited. Well, I called emergency and got a tow truck. They said someone would be coming, and I waited and waited and waited and waited. Ended up being 4 hours, and finally a truck came and he was able to get me out. But to make a long story short, that's what happened to me, and the reason I say that is because everybody, I think, should think about this type of thing happening, because it's the kind of thing that happens. It might never happen to you, but it very likely will sometime. So if I would have had something like a rope and things that I would have needed to get me pulled out, I might have been able to get by with only maybe waiting an hour, let's say, and I would have had an extra 3 hours. So it would have been worth it, obviously, that time if I was prepared. So what I want to present today is what I think is probably the best option out there for recovering a vehicle. So let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, first of all, I want to point out to you a few things here. Number one is never use a tow strap to recover a stuck vehicle. These are, now technically I don't know if this would really be a tow strap, but a tow strap would be kind of like this. Most of them, a lot of them anyway, have a metal hook on the end, and never use anything with a metal hook, because that's just asking for trouble. If something breaks, something fails on the strap, this hook could go flying and anything could happen. You fill in the blanks, but you can imagine things that can happen with these. So never use this to recover a stuck vehicle situation like we're talking about today. The next thing would be the snatch strap or recovery strap, whatever it might be called, which I would say is what this is. Now, this has a loop. There's no metal on it. It has a loop on both ends, inside as well, and this I think is a 30 foot by 3, and I've had this for quite a few years and didn't use it much. Used it a few times, and as you can see, it's frayed pretty bad, so this really probably shouldn't even be used anymore, but I have it in the truck just in case. This is an option if you're on a budget. You can't afford a really good recovery rope. This is an option. This will work. It's not as good of an option, but if you have a heavy enough vehicle doing the towing, doing the pulling, it will probably work for you. So this is the cheap option, way to go, if you can't afford the better option. Okay, first of all, let's look at the size of this. I have this in the trunk of my car. It's that big, only that thick. So it doesn't take up a lot of room at all. Let's open it up. Okay, I still have this in the bag. This is brand new, never used. Let's just take a look at what we have here. Looks like a big white, or not necessarily a big, but a long white snake, doesn't it? So this is called a kinetic recovery rope, and the main difference between, the main benefit of this over the other option we looked at, of the snatch strap, is that this strap would have from about 15 to 20% stretch rate. That's how much it would stretch when you yank on it. Whereas the kinetic recovery rope will stretch more like 30%, approximately 30%. And so, which gives you a much greater advantage with, you're going to be able to do a lot more at extracting your vehicle from the stuck position with this, with a smaller vehicle. Okay, so, you know, you might, with this, you might have a small, let's say a Jeep, and you could do as much as you could with a full-size pickup truck with this rope, for comparison's sake. So, and now I'm driving a 2000 Nissan Maxima, and the Japanese were smart back then anyway. They have a nice hook, or a loop actually, at every corner of the vehicle, which is very nice. Now I have everything in here I need to hook up. I have a bow shackle here, which is in this case, this is a 5/8 bow shackle, which means the pin, the yellow pin here is 5/8. And I have some of the things for my hitches, 2-inch receiver, that they were 3/4, and they're too big to fit in these. So I had to get this especially for the car here. This fits in perfectly. And I also have a hitch pin in here. So let's say I get stuck and a nice pickup truck, 4-wheel drive, comes along, and he has a 2-inch receiver on his truck, but there's no, he doesn't have a hitch pin. There's nothing in the hitch. It's just the receiver. So I'll show you how you can hook this up like that. So first of all, I'm going to show you how we'll hook this up on the car. So let's take a look at that. Now, as you can see, I'm showing you on the back of the car here. The hooks on the front, or the loops on the front, I should say, are pretty much the same. I figured I'd show you on the back. This is probably the most likely way you would be pulled, the direction. More often probably pulled from the back side, because your nose first down into wherever. These kinetic recovery ropes have a loop on the end. So basically, you're taking the shackle and you're sticking it through the loop like that, and then we're going up here to the loop on the car and put that and put a pin through there. Now that is a safe connection there. You know, you're good to go on this end now. That's a solid connection. Should be safe to give some good tugs on there, enough to get you out. Every car is going to be different. Most 4-wheel drive vehicles will have something probably in the bumpers that, you know, built-in hooks or whatever that are very easy to hook up to. But a lot of passenger cars don't really have anything like that. You got to look underneath and see what your options are. And you know, a lot of the newer cars don't even really have anywhere to attach a strap or a rope. And so just be extremely cautious. Check into your vehicle. Talk to someone that knows them. Talk to your mechanic or whatever. Make sure you know where, if your car has a safe place to hook to, because some of them just don't really have any place to hook up. And the only option is to hook onto an axle or a control arm, and that's just not a good idea. I would not do that. Some people probably would, but it's just not safe. You're just asking for trouble. Break something, pull your car out of line, or whatever it might be. So I would say, yeah, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle if your car doesn't have any recovery points. But yeah, talk to someone, your mechanic, whatever, and find out what your car has. Okay, let's say somebody comes along with a nice 4-wheel drive pickup truck and he has a 2-inch receiver but nothing in it. Okay, so that's why I carry this hitch pin with me on the car. That way we can just hook it up like this. Very simple. We have the loop here, and just take the loop and stick it in there, put the pin through like that, and there we go. We're good to go. You can pull right like that. That way there's no extra metal parts to come loose. That's probably the best option for hooking up, if you can do that. Now, what we're looking at today is obviously a rope for a car. Now, that's one other thing I wanted to point out here, is that make sure if you buy one of these ropes that you get the right size for your vehicle. I have an 1.25 inch rope on my truck that I can use to pull whatever vehicle if I can help somebody out somewhere along the line. But on the car, I have a 3/4 inch, and they have specific weight limits for all the sizes. Just research or just check on that before you purchase one, and make sure you're getting the right size. Now, the 3/4, which I have for my car, which is designed for, you know, passenger cars, fits in here real nice, like you saw with the pin through there. Now, probably the next size bigger, you'd hardly be able to get it in there and get the pin through, because it's pretty minimal with this one. So anything bigger than this, that would probably not be an option. So if you do have a bigger rope, obviously this would be your best option, which is the toe point like this. And you have your bow shackle here. You can just hook in like that. Same way we hooked up on the car. Right through the loop of the rope, and in like that. And that also works, but I like the other option better if your rope is small enough to get in there. But if not, this works also. That's also very secure and solid. Okay, there's one other option I wanted to point out to you here. I have here now my 1.25 inch rope that I carry on my truck, which is designed for that weight of vehicles, heavy 4x4s, full size heavy pickup trucks, and even a few larger vehicles. Now this obviously there's no way I can fit it in there like we did on the car. The rope that I got with the car, it's not going to go in there. So that's not an option. So obviously we can use our shackle here, with this option. I don't have the shackle in this one, but that's the best way to do it. But let's say you don't have a 2-inch receiver on the towing vehicle. Doesn't have a 2-inch receiver. I want to point out to you another option that you can do. Now, in this case, we have a bar here on the Jeep, which I would not, in a recovery situation, I would not use this bar because it's not heavy enough. But I just wanted to I'm just going to use this bar to show you the illustration here. If you do have a round tubular bumper, like some vehicles do on the front, or a round tube in between the frame channels, like some of them have, this would be an option to go around there. You need to be careful with this option, though. You don't want to just go around anything. Obviously, you don't want to go around the bumper. I mean, this one would probably be strong enough, but it would have some sharp edges on the back that wouldn't be too smart. So if you have a nice smooth bar to go around, this would be an option that would work. Okay. We'll just take the rope and put it up around the bar, and then we're going to use a stick. Okay, so we'll go like this. Let's take it back a little bit so we're fairly tight. Then we're going to bring this up through here like that, so that you have a loop. And then we'll stick the stick in like that. Okay, and then you can pull like that. There you go. Now that is another option that can be used. Don't ever use something metal, like a metal bar, to put in there, but if you use a stick, it's something that works. It's definitely not, your best option. Usually you have a better option, but if there's just no other way, this would be something that would work. Another thing to remember when you're trying to get a vehicle unstuck is always start off slow and easy. There's no reason to really just gun it and just really yank on the vehicle. Just give nice gentle tugs and just strengthen it up. Go a little faster till you start to move the car. That way you're not putting a lot of extra strain, unnecessary strain on either vehicle. So in conclusion, real quickly, just remember, never use a strap like this with metal hooks. Number one thing to remember. And Remember, if you're looking to get by cheap, this will work. A snatch strap, recovery strap will do the job. It'll just take a little more energy with the vehicle to extract it. And obviously, like I said, this is the best option out there. 30% stretch versus about 15 to 20% stretch. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this little presentation today, and hope it's a help to you. And be careful, be safe out there on the highway. Thanks for watching.